Welcome to the Hash It Out Show. I'm your host, JB, your sports guy. I'm joined by my good friend, the man that's never lost for any words, the one and only VK Jones. VK, what's going on, my brother?
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the show on YouTube Live, Facebook Live. Like, share, tag, subscribe, and everything. All good things. And tonight, man, we got Champions Night tonight. Two big time guests. We got our first guest that's gonna be up, but we got a lot to talk about with NCAA stuff and other sports topics later on. So, Jared, take it away with our first guest, who is a big time state champion back to back. Let's get him on here.
I'm going to get him on in 1 second. We cannot forget, later on, we have Coach Larry Cordero, the former coach of LSU Alexander basketball team. He will be joining us on later tonight. But right now, our guest, he is now a two-time state champion, winning coach of the Carver Rams boys basketball team. He is back on our show again. I present to you all Coach Nate Roche. Coach, congratulations. Welcome back. How are you feeling?
Man, I like the way that introduction sound, man. I'm feeling real good, bro. Last time I was on the show, we had some technical difficulties with the computer. Hope everybody out there can hear me real good, man. I'm excited to be back on the show.
Absolutely, man. All I'm gonna tell you is this, man. You are a true prophet, my friend. You came on last time. You said yourself, man, we gonna win it again. I don't know about you, we gonna win it again. I hate to do that in semifinals. I had to spring it up in the question. He's like, and you looked at my face and said, we gonna do it again. And you did it again, my friend. I want to give you all the props in the world for. I mean, you put it out there, and everything went to fruition. What a night for y'all guys, man.
Absolutely, man. You gotta believe, bro. We manifested that. We hit our strides at the right time, bro. The kids played extremely well. I'm sure you got a lot of questions, so I'm gonna just let you get into it.
All right. Well, let's
Yeah,
get into it. The first question I want to get into. Let's go the game before the state championship game. Let's go to the Peabody game. Most of the game, y'all were down. I was there watching the game for the first half. I left for the second half, but I watched it on my phone on the way back. The fourth quarter, you guys are still down by 6 or 7. What did you tell your team at the start of the fourth quarter? And talk about the comeback and Mr. Hicks' game-winning shot at the end of the game.
Man, that game right there, I think throughout this season, that game right there is gonna be one of my most memorable games, just because we fought from behind that whole game. I remember us in the huddles not hanging our head. I remember the coaches, everybody was locked in, man. And we were trying to find a defense that worked, bro. We played a lot of zone this year. Kept switching it up, kept trying to find something to give us some stops, and we couldn't. Peabody came out to start that third quarter, man, and I think they went on a run, bro. It was like maybe a 10-point, 12-point lead. And I looked to my assistant coach, Devin Andrews. I was like, man, we got to come with a defense that worked because we not getting no stops. So we wound up switching the man. We put Jalen Hicks and Kenwan White on their two best players. And we went from there. And when that fourth quarter started, we was kind of, getting closer and closer. And I was just telling them as I was calling timeouts, I was like, man, we practiced this. We done went through all type of scenarios. We done been down 6, we done been up 6. This is just a 2-minute drill for us. So I think that, being able to bring that to the front of their minds in the midst of that game, that was very helpful for us to come back and get the lead.
I want to ask you, in regards to that game against Peabody, about Jalen Hicks. Jalen Hicks was on your team last year. He's been there. Talk about the leadership experience from him and being in the situation of knowing what to do.
Man, Jalen Hicks is a tremendous athlete, student athlete. Been in the program for 4 years. He's a kid that has played many different roles. He's a kid that has made so many different sacrifices in terms of waiting to his moment to be that guy. Just him all year, he's been a kid in practice, on the court, In those final seconds to set the tone, man. Watching him just will his way to victory in that Peabody game was just amazing to have, a courtside front row seat to that. You know, Watching him throughout the game, the first half, he struggled a bit. We struggled a bit, and something just ignited inside of him. You know, I remember one play vividly. He got a rebound, he pushed it up the middle of the floor, and nobody stepped in front of him, and he just skied to the basket and dunked it with two hands. And he had so much momentum going forward that he swung back. If he wouldn't have hung on to the rim, he probably would have landed in the stands. That's how unstoppable he was.
I want to ask you now about the championship game. Before the championship game, Madison Prep Academy. Everyone knows about Madison Prep. They won 8 championships in the past 11 years. What did you see on film about Madison Prep before you played the game?
It's a team full of many weapons. They got a good crew of young kids. They got Lent. They well coached by Jeff Jones, and his assistant coaching staff. So watching them on tape, most of their games was all blowouts this year. They kind of had their way with everybody. And I was just trying to identify what's their Achilles heel, where do they struggle, where could we poke them and they're gonna bleed. Identify who their shooters was, identify what their big guys was trying to do, identify their bench personnel, and we just followed our game plan to a T, and we were able to come out on top, man. I mean, it was really one of those moments where kids showed up to play. They was locked in, and they just made the coaches look good.
I want to talk about your defensive game plan for Madison Prep, and then I'll get my 2 takes after you say what your defensive game plan was.
Well, we knew they was a fast-paced team. They want to play off the bounce. They want to get you in man, create, that downhill basketball game. So what our defensive plan was, we set in our 1-3-1. We switched it up to our 1-2-2. And we used our length to kind of slow them down and not let them get a momentum. And if they was going to struggle to hit shots, it was going to be a long night. So we did just that. I think we rotated really well. And we kind of got extremely good at that against Hannon. And we just kept them in front. We didn't gamble. We stayed disciplined. We didn't commit any silly fouls. And, the biggest thing was just not letting them get loose, suffocating them, stepping on them, not letting them get no air in their lungs.
I'll say this. When I watched them play Shaw, and first thing I told my dad, I said, Madison Prep is struggling to make jumpers. They had a hard time hitting jumpers. And I said, if this happens on Saturday, they're in trouble, regardless of who they play. And when y'all came out in the zone defense, I told myself right then and there, they got it won. They got it won. Because they could hit jumpers at all. At all. They struggled to hit jumpers in Lake Charles. So, to me, your zone defense, switching back and forth, I thought it was a perfect game plan.
And at the same time, head coach Jeff Jones said this in the press conference. He said probably one of the most toughest defenses we faced all year. And he said we shoot the ball usually well. And this is the worst time. These 2 games were the only 2 games that we shot that bad. And Carver deserved to win that title.
Without a doubt.
Yeah. I might have read something somewhere that said, good teams are really judged by how they make other teams struggle. Other good teams struggle, when they play defense. So for me as a coach, my program rests on defense. And I think about, I think about moments when we win games by a lot or when we win close games. And I always think back to my defense. I'm like, our defense is going to determine how good we are. And we're not going to know how good we are until we play a good team and make them struggle.
There's 3 games that kind of stood out to me, Coach, in my years covering this thing that I always keep looking at. This is another game that's on the list with y'all. And I keep thinking about 2 other games. One of the games was Acadia and Country Day that was around 2014 in Hammond. And it was basically an overtime game where Country Day couldn't beat Acadia Save Their Life, and they played the perfect game like Georgetown, and they wound up winning in overtime. Another game was last season when Hannon shot 80-something% for 2 halves and beating Liberty and shocking everybody to make maybe one of the biggest shockers in top 28 history. But y'all stood out as well. I mean, the defense. I mean, you held Madison Prep to 20-something% shooting. And I mean, especially the way you shut them down in the third quarter and you took a 14-point lead. And it's like, I had to text Jared and say, I'm like, this is a freaking clinic. This is a clinic. I couldn't even believe what I'm seeing. And I'm like, man, Carver on their way. I couldn't even believe
I believed it.
Yeah. Man, I gotta give, I get a lot of credit, bro, with my assistant coaches. They do a good job of scouting. They do a good job of challenging me and bringing stuff to me to help improve our defense and our offense. And, the ability to develop these kids as well, So I'm nothing without the people around me, bro. We figured it out. We kept chipping away at it, and we found something that the kids enjoy playing, and we just try to maximize the potential out of it. We squeezed everything out of them.
VK, I'm gonna pass it right back to you after this question.
Go ahead.
Coach, a lot of talk from last season with the players you lost that went on to play Division I ball. And a lot of people early in the year were counting you out. You had 10 losses on the year. But your slogan became, don't count us out. And you kept saying it for the rest of the season. What did you see? What did you know from your team to let people know not to count y'all out? And yes, it's something coaches would say to have confidence in their team, but you being a state champion winning coach already, you've gotten to the semis, and you already was a runner-up. This to me means much, much more coming from you. So what is it that you saw or knew about your team to tell people don't count us out?
Man, I saw that they really wanted. We had 10 losses this year. A lot of those came on the road. Some of them came while Jalen Hicks was out. And, with those 10 losses, we had a lot of tough moments, a lot of long bus rides back to school. And them kids would just, constantly be in a group chat talking about we're going to get it right. We're going to get it better, words of encouragement to each other. And I think, once we got whole and we started to, slow things down and understand each other more, it was all about giving them that confidence to believe in themselves. Because from day one, from the summer, I know we had the components to compete for another state championship. Well, what I did know is that it was going to take a lot of maturity. It was going to take a lot of growth, mental toughness, a lot of sacrifices, accountability. And, we had a moment before we went in district playoff strive or whatever. And I called the team meeting and I was like, we tried everything, we tried it y'all way, I'm a player coach, I try to do things to help, understand my players more. And I was like, for this final stretch, I want to try things my way. And I just started doubling down on the accountability piece. If anybody is late to anything, don't show up to practice, make sure you go home. If a teacher called me about anything, make sure you don't show up to practice, make sure you go home. And when we in practice, just making sure that everybody responds to each other in a positive way to kind of lift each other up. And then we develop the mindset of, we're going to elevate each other. Whenever we make a mistake, we're going to jump to the next play. We're going to jump to the next thing in life, and we just going to keep elevating each other.
Wow. That's big time right there, Coach. Got to ask you about two of your players that really was key, but actually three. Two of your seniors that really helped Jalen a lot, took some pressure off, and that's Lawrence Nathan and Kewan White. And I mean,
Lawrence Nathan is a junior. He'll be back next year.
Oh, I'm sorry, Coach. I'm sorry. That's another key player that's going to be key next year, but he was one of them. Kewan White. How about him? How he really just helped out as a senior, but also the future of Carver basketball, Dejon Leatherman.
Mm-hmm.
Can you tell us how these guys was really big keys, especially going forward?
Yeah. Man, Kenwan was a kid that was in the program for 4 years. He didn't get a chance to play that much prior to this year. And I think that speaks a lot to the growth and the development that we do at George Washington Carver. So to be able to have a kid to come in the program and after 4 years be able to be such an impact player on a back-to-back state championship run. Kenwan was a kid that constantly elevated us, man. His energy was contagious. You know, the blocks, the three-pointers, the putback dunks that you saw in the championship game. You know, that was things that he did for us all year long to kind of ignite us and give us energy. With him not having that experience prior to this year, he struggled a bit to understand the certain way to do things. You know, the level of expectation that he had on him. But I'm extremely proud of Kenwan White, man. Lawrence Nathan and Dejon Leatherman, man. Who you want me to talk about first?
Man, either one. Because we know
Leather,
we know what Lawrence can do. Tell us about Dejan. Either one. Start with
Yeah,
either one.
I think Dejon is the kind of shocker and a newcomer because a lot of people remember that kid from when he was younger and he was undeveloped. Dejon been in our program for 2 years, man, and you know I can't say this enough. I gotta tip my hat to the coaches that's on our staff with having patience to work with this kid. You know, I'm not the type of guy to take credit for everything that y'all see because it's a lot of us working together behind the scenes, but Dejon has developed tremendously, man, in a short amount of time. You know, at the beginning of the year, I remember us getting on him about the simple things, just running the floor hard, and then it transitioned from getting him to use his left hand and open up his offensive game because we didn't want him to be so one dimensional. And man, I could think about a moment in a championship game where we had got the ball to him down low, and he was doing his move. He spent back and went to his left hand, and I was like, D, your right hand is really strong, man. You got to use your right hand. So, he's a kid that constantly developed in our program, and I'm excited to see how far he's gonna go by the time he graduates.
And I know Lawrence is gonna really help him out next year as a senior leader, been there before. It's gonna be interesting with them two, trying to help y'all get a three-peat more than anything else next season.
Most definitely. Most definitely. Lawrence Nathan is a kid that works extremely hard. I had this kid as a freshman. I remember taking him on a trip out of town. We went to camp, and he was an incoming freshman. We just knew he did the one app, and he was on his way to Carver. And I remember him being in a hotel with Solomon and Dorian, and after they came from camp, Lawrence went straight to the weight room.
Hmm.
Like that's how hungry that kid is, and I think more than ever next year is going to be a chance for him to display everything that he can do for our program, and everything that he has done will be on a beam for us. He's another kid that had the playing with a lot of talented kids throughout his high school journey. So being able to see Lawrence in a different role, that leadership role, talking, putting guys in position, I'm excited about it.
Now, with these two state championships you have won, which one is the most satisfying to you? Because the first one,
And my guy
you
knew that.
got yeah. The first one, it was a culmination of everything you overcame in 4 years, everything you overcame with the program, or everything you turned around, all the adversities. I talked about it in the recap last season about everything you overcome to get to the point and to win it. Now this year, in one of the toughest classes, you beat you break three great programs
Yeah.
that were past state champions, and you beat two legends at that to
Talk
win
to
the state title.
Say it louder. Say it louder for me, man. Listen, man. Look,
See,
I already know what the question is, man, and I'm glad you asked me that. This championship, man. I mean, last year championship. I had to live with the fact that we lost to McMain the year before that, by one. A lot of people in the community was upset about that. They really didn't believe in me as a coach, and people didn't. They just thought I lucked up on talent with Solomon, Dorian, and Willie. Nobody really remembered that those kids was freshmen and they had to be developed by somebody. They had to be in a system that made them successful. So, winning last year, it felt good, but it still didn't, give me that accomplishment that I really wanted. I think we was 29-2. I still ain't get coach of the year for Louisiana. I took all that. I took all that personal. I took all that to heart, and I looked to myself like, man, what could I do better for people to really like, recognize my greatness because I'm giving this my all constantly, year after year. I'm building a program that had to rebuild and start over. And this year, that's why we couldn't stop. That's why I had to give it everything I got to get this second one. And this one feels great, man. It feels amazing because I wouldn't have wanted it no other way. I wouldn't have wanted to, not have to play Hannah, not have to play Peabody, not have to play Madison Prep. I feel like that was destined. That was everything that I wanted to be coaches that was notable guys in history of Louisiana basketball. And I hope that I can continue to impact the basketball community in Louisiana, for more years to come. But this one feel really good. So good, like I ain't even get a chance to celebrate it, man. I'm just kind of tired from all the work that I put in. I'm still running, still dealing with my kids, but at some point, it's gonna hit me, and I'm gonna enjoy this because it's a major accomplishment.
Well, you got some celebrations coming up this weekend, so it's gonna be your time to enjoy the fruits of your labor more than anything else. But it's amazing, and all three of the coaches, especially Coach Golf, besides yourself, I can definitely call him a friend. Gave you a lot of props. He gave a lot of props to you, Jeff Jones, Charles Smith, and Hall of Famer Charles Smith at that. I mean, they're giving you a lot of respect, Nate. They're giving you a
I
whole lot
appreciate
of respect because
You
I
know, I,
mean,
I look at those guys as mentors, man. I haven't talked to Charles Smith a lot, but his son coached me in college. I always pick up the phone and see how he doing, ask him what they working on or what I can learn from him. Jeff Jones is another guy. Me and Jeff talk like maybe once or twice a week. Coach Errol Golf at Hannah, I got much respect for him. He's a genius, a basketball genius. So I'm glad those guys gave me my respect, and I got much respect for them as well.
I got to ask you this, Coach, and this is very interesting in itself. We talked about legendary coaches and everything else. Carlos Sample, you went
Yeah,
against him a couple times at Scotlandville. He announced his resignation days ago. What are your thoughts about him calling it a career at Scotlandville?
man, I think that Coach Sample did an amazing job at Scotlandville, man. One of my favorite times of the year is being able to go in his gym and tell my kids about the history. You walk in Scotlandville, you see all these banners, you see all these kids that won the Gatorade Player of the Year award. And for me, that's what I want for my culture. That's what I want for my community. So nothing but respect for what he has done. Um, I don't know if he's gonna be finished or not. It's gonna be interesting to see what he does next. But I think he did an amazing job for that program and that learning institution.
Absolutely. I'm gonna ask you this one more thing, and I'm gonna let Jared finish things off from there. You're younger than us. I know we're a little bit older than you, but I know you're in your 30s, and I remember when you played ball and stuff like that when you was at Landry to West Jeff. Looking at a lot of issues going on these days. You got the guy from Georgia that's the football player from Georgia that's sliding in the draft because of a incident that happened with a couple of people who was killed in an accident, and then you got the Ja Morant issue. What you have to say? What's going on with the young athletes these days? That choices are being made, bad choices, or some things that getting too much pressure. What do you think was going on with the young athletes that's causing them to make very abrupt choices?
I think social media, is a lot of pressure for these kids growing up today. Everybody see what rappers are other guys that they're watching are doing, and the power of influence is real. My message to any kid that's watching this interview is just be yourself, man. It's okay to be a hard worker. It's okay to be an athlete. It's okay to be a great student. You don't have to be out here doing things like breaking in cars or playing with guns to be likable. um, it's sad, man, that that they shine a light on that, on those type of things, with all the positivity going on in the world. I just think that social media and peer pressure and just the pressure to fit in, man.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. But also your thoughts on your former players that are doing well right now. And I hate to interrupt you, Jared, but Willie Anderson, and also seeing two of your other players, Solomon Washington, Dorian making to the NCAAs. It seemed like it's a banner year for you.
Yeah. I mean, it's a good feeling, man. We extremely proud of those kids, like the whole Carver community. The biggest thing that I want to instill in these kids is just how to deal with adversity. A lot of kids go to these institutions and you know, they fight adversity. They don't get their way. A lot of our kids are used to having things at their fingertips, and all three of those kids are in situations where they had to fight for, their playing time, their spot on the team, their recognition. And it's a great year, man. Willie Anderson, they won the SWAC championship. Dorian Finister is still playing right now in the March Madness tournament. Solomon Washington had a great, amazing year. They lost in the opener, but all in all, man, it's a good feeling to see kids coming from our program, coming from our culture that's out there doing major things.
Coach, this Friday and this Saturday, you got a pre-parade party and a parade. Tell us a little bit about this.
Friday night, we're going to have a pre-parade party. It's going to be adults only. It's going to be 9 p.m. until at Link on the Legion Fields. Come out and celebrate with the back-to-back champs, man. If you can't make it Friday, catch us Saturday, 12 o'clock. The parade will be rolling. We're going to have all the auxiliary groups. We're going to have some bands. You're going to catch the coaches and the players on the floats. And it's going to be something to remember, man.
I know we see a lot of parades with the college teams and the pro teams, but this is my first time ever hearing about a parade for a high school team. This is big, and I applaud you for this because this is definitely putting more of a spotlight on your players and GW Carver High School. So I applaud you for this. This is very, very important in my eyes.
VK got a
I like
question.
the idea.
Now, I got to stop you for a second.
VK
This
got
is not. It's not a question.
Come on, man.
It's not a question. It's a statement. This is not the first ever high school parade in the city of New
Did I say
Orleans.
first ever?
Yes, you
say
did.
This
the
this
first
one is gonna be historical.
Historical for
All
Carver.
right.
Be historical.
Landry Walker and Carr did a parade together the year when they won the state championships together in the dome.
They did.
I remember
They
that.
did. Yeah, I was there for that. So I'm just saying. You said first ever. Wait, I gotta correct you on that.
Shout out to
Carver,
Coach
yes.
Wallace. Shout out to Coach Rod Wallace at Landry, man, doing an amazing job with those kids. Shout out to Coach T. Howard, man, all those guys, man. I love my Algiers crew.
Absolutely. Definitely. But it's a historical thing for Carver because I mean, state championship, third in the history, but a first back-to-back and the second back-to-back ever for Orleans Parish School. That is amazing for the school, and I applaud y'all big time for that. This Carver community really needs it, especially after what they've been through after Katrina, the Ninth Ward area. This is big because I've been by the school myself. Amazing what I've seen after everything rebuilt to the school.
Absolutely, man. I'm looking forward to it.
Oh, Coach Nate, 4 straight semifinal appearances, 3 straight championship appearances, back-to-back state champions, and your resume is going to get much better, much better. We thank you for joining us, and good luck come next season, Coach. And hopefully, once again, you're back with us on this show.
Absolutely, man. I'm looking forward to it. Thank you guys for having me, man. Peace.
Just the beginning, Coach. Just the beginning. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you, Coach. That's Coach Nate Roche. And now we bring in a guy who was the first coach at LSU Alexandria for 9 seasons. He had a record of 224 wins, 50 losses, and had a national championship runner-up team in 2018 in the NAIA championship. We bring in Coach Larry Cordaro. Coach, how you doing?
What's up, guys? Appreciate you guys doing this.
Definitely, Coach.
Absolutely.
Thank you for joining us. Coach, Why now do you decide to step away from LSU Alexandria?
I don't think I'll be able to dodge that question for an hour, however long we've got. But before we get rolling, no, seriously, like the coach you just had on, like I go to bed pretty early. I'm like, man, I wish I would have went first, but I see you had the right guy on first. Like that's first class. Like
Thank
Coach
you.
Nate, I don't know if he can hear this or not. It's not for him to hear this. This is for everybody else. Like he's the real deal, and he's got a bright future. Whether he stays there or wants to advance. So kudos to a coach who I remember when he played as well, and to see what he has done. And I texted him on that Thursday before he played the semis, and I told him, I said, don't underestimate the heart of a champion. And he came, and so credit for those players and what he's built there. And, you know, it just kind of reminds me, you're talking about 4 Final Fours in a row?
Yes.
3 championships in a row, and then 2? Man,
Yes.
Yes, sir.
let's give credit where credit is due right there.
Definitely.
That bought me a little time to think, go ahead and what was that question? Why now?
That's my man right there.
Why now
Hey.
decide to step away?
I got something else, man. Before I forget, this is a good little wake up call. You talk about energy and excitement. I've got this. I'm gonna figure out how to play this, but man, I get so juiced up. You got your guy, and you did a very good job of announcing these games. And listen to this. Hopefully, you can hear it, man. The excitement. Can you hear it?
Yeah, I hear it.
That's you, man. I was
Appreciate
recording that, watching you announce those games. You did a great job down there, man.
Thank you.
Love the energy, the excitement. I need to figure out how to get that to wake me up every morning.
I wish it could, man. You know, but I really appreciate the compliment. I give it all I had. That was a long ball game in itself, and I kind of really looking at that game in perspective. I really felt bad for the coach at Patterson because you look at the whole game. It was basically there's a reason why he had to slow it down and decided not to play defense, especially on Port Allen, because the fact that when you run out of bullets, it's like, what else you do? But it was a great all-around game. It was like the whole week we had over like 4 overtimes for this whole top 28.
Yeah, a lot of good games.
Yeah, a lot of good games.
Warrell Spann is the coach for that Patterson team, and he was the first player that I was fortunate to sign when I was an assistant at Southeastern Louisiana. You know, he played at that school, as you know. Mm-hmm. And then he went to Navarro Junior College. And, back to the question, he even texted me, I guess, yesterday. He couldn't believe it. Warrell from Patterson was like, I read it, and I thought it was like fake. And I'm sure it shocked the state. We signed a lot of players in Louisiana. It's been awesome to our program. And, and Nate just said it too, man. Just want to build something to be something to remember. And hopefully what we've done in 9, whether they were fast or slow or whatever, man, it was a fun ride. And it was time for me to do something different, to let someone else come in and take what we've built and maybe take it even further and see if I can go further with my career, maybe in a different area, different level. This is not the end for Coach Cordero. Hopefully it's just kind of the beginning. I feel like I'm at halftime. I've been in the game for about 23 years, and I want to coach for a long time. But right now, just, it happens in the profession. And whether you have a losing season or whether you advance on top or, it's just happened to be season 9. Thought about going 1 more 10, but I don't know how many 1 mores was in me with kind of the situation where we are. And it was hard yesterday to go in that locker room at noon and talk to those guys. I didn't want that team meeting to end. I wanted to just continue. I said, guys, we got to wrap this thing up. And it was tough. It was emotional. And so, yeah, it's a new chapter for me for sure. And LSUA as well. Hopefully we left the program better than obviously what it was before when we got there, and we started something for years to come.
Talk about the process of starting this basketball program from scratch and turning it into a national power.
Jay, Casey, Twig, those three guys, assistant coaches, were phenomenal. You know, Jay's at UNO. He's been there for a while. Was head coach at Wiley. Casey's at Lee. He's bounced around. He's been in a lot of different places. He does a really good job in recruiting. And then Twig just moved back to Connecticut, where he's from. We pulled him back down from Connecticut, and he was here with us for a year before he went over and did a very good job with Menard, and then went to Northwood Lena. Coach Tinsley came and reaped kind of the benefits of what he had laid for that 1 year as those guys were juniors, and give credit where Coach Tinsley came and took care of business as well. A lot of good players in the state of Louisiana. Hopefully, I'm still able to, whether it be, I don't know where I'm going to go, Arkansas, Mississippi, Texas. I'd like to maybe stay connected if that's the case, if I can choose that, because Louisiana's my roots, it's my home, and this is a hotbed for talent.
Coach, I mentioned earlier you had a 224-50 record, but at the Fort, 107 wins, 10 losses in your 9-year tenure at LSU Alexandria. Talk about how hard it was for teams to try to win at the Fort.
It's a unique place, small, loud. It was almost kind of like, we don't lose at home mentality. It was that type of deal. Didn't matter who we were playing, ranked above us, or years whenever maybe we didn't have the strongest teams as we did, but we still, like this year, found a way to go 13-1. AJ from Xavier, those guys were able to come up and they gave us a defeat in the Fort. It was our one defeat. But playing in the Fort, there's no place like it. It's a hot box. The fan base that we created, it's hard to be able to walk away from that, because those guys came and definitely filled the Fort, our student section, baseball teams over the years. But, it all boils down to those players in those LSUA jerseys. And I told them, I said, guys, the jerseys don't win the games. It's what's pumping inside those hearts inside of you guys, and, the practices, the season in our practices. And those guys brought it. And that was a special place to practice in, to compete in. And I had a lot of good memories in there for sure. Cut down some nets. I actually got engaged after our program's 100th win. And it's going to be a place that I will miss for sure.
After this question, I'll pass it on to VK. Talk about the 2018 season when you guys got to the national championship.
That was one of our most losses. We had 9, I believe. Up until this year, we lost, I think, 11 this year. First time in 9 seasons, we lost double digits. But it was the leadership of Jordan and Joe. I had a friend that sent me, it was 5 years ago, I think yesterday, that we played for that game in Kansas City. We had 5 Louisiana guys, and it didn't hit me. We had Joe Faraci. Love Joe. Nobody knew who he was. Recruited him out of Pope John Paul. He overcame injury after injury. He was a 4th-year guy. Jordan Williams, school's all-time leading scorer. Red River Hall of Fame, first one that we ever had. We had Anthony Stove, Parkview Baptist. He and Jonathan are cousins. We had Chris Vickers, who still works up here in the area, played for Jay Carlin at Salmon. And we had Big Will Claiborne, North Shore, played for Joey Tolis. Casey signed him. And those guys, some were older, some were sophomores. And that was not our most talented team. And we lost one of those 10 losses kind of back-to-back. We lost our first home game in program history in season 4 to LSUS. They got us. And then a week later, Jay at Wiley, he came in and popped us. And I'll never forget, I came in the locker room, and on the board, I have a picture of it somewhere, Jordan Williams, he just wrote a lot of stuff, kind of smooth. As coach, I got, and he took over and just kind of laid the foundation. I think we went on to win 10 in a row. We won the conference tournament, beat some really good teams leading up to the final game. We did everything but win in regulation. We were up a couple points with over a minute to go, and we didn't deliver the goods at the end, but take nothing away. Those guys aren't national champions, but they're life champions. I didn't mention Brandon Moss was able to accept the role of coming off the bench. He was probably our most talented player we've ever had. And then Shannon James from Lafayette, he could have easily started. He had a hot 5 games up there in Kansas City. And we had some other guys, but those were kind of our main core players. And it was a fun run for sure. We had about 100 fans to Graceland's 6,000. They're in Iowa, and they were an hour away. And we had our faithful fans that came up from Alexandria. So it was really a memorable environment. It was so loud. It was so many people in there. I don't know. That's probably got to be the most fans to attend a championship game in Municipal Auditorium, which is a really cool place to play. A lot of history in that facility.
Coach, man, it's good to have you. We go way back, and I appreciate you taking the time. Let's talk about a little bit. We talked about the history of it. You've been in that NAIA, and I think when the time you went to the national championship, I think that was the last year of that format. And you have to win 6 games in 5 games, 6 days, or 6 games in 7 days. I think you was in that last year of that format before they expanded, right?
We had one more year. I go in seasons. That was season 4 for us. And they had one more season where we did that. And I want to say season 6 was COVID, and nobody played. That was unfortunate because those were some seniors that year, and we made it, and we were making plans. And that Friday, I think it was, they said, we're not going. And so, yeah, it's now different. You now host. So you've got to earn your way a little bit more. They take 16 to Kansas City, not 32. It used to be D1 and D2, 2 divisions of NEI at 2 different tournaments. Now they bring them all together, and they play one big tournament. So that's changed as well.
That's big there. How the influence of the winning at LSUA convinced the Red River Conference to switch the tournament and bring it to Alexandria, to Rapides Coliseum?
I just think that's credit to our athletic director and department. Adam Johnson gets a lot of credit for that. Our current AD continued that. We've got a nice facility right down the road from where we play. That's where they used to play the state championships, of course, back in the day. And you can't play it at a host instance. We'd love to have it at the Fort, but you have to play it at a neutral site. And it's been working out there. And also the national tournament's been there as well.
Now, could it be now since you're resigned and everything, and this is kind of an interesting question, and I know the Red River usually don't want to do home courts and everything for a tournament, but could there possibly, and I think Alexandria will have the host for the next couple of years, could it be a possibility that New Orleans could get a chance of getting the Red River, since Xavier is now in the conference, and especially with a couple of good facilities that they have in New Orleans? I know they say no home field, no home courts, but at the same time, the Convocation Center has hosted a couple of conference tournaments and a couple of big events. Could it be a possibility that New Orleans could get a chance at hosting the tournament?
It could. We had it in Longview. They've talked about doing it in Shreveport up there. But everybody wants to go to New Orleans for sure. And you mentioned the state of Louisiana and NAI. I put a tweet out probably 8 weeks ago. There's a lot of good college basketball NAI programs, as you know. I don't even have to list them. New Orleans, you got 2 right here in central Louisiana, and you got Shreveport's been doing their thing for years. So we've got a great brand of basketball in the NEI ranks for sure that probably doesn't get enough recognition. Just what Xavier's done they've got a facility to recruit to for sure, but those guys and that culture and that program, and of course, Loyola went in a national championship, and what Donald did this year to follow up on that. So there's a lot of positives in Louisiana, and hopefully LSUA can continue to be successful and to do what we've created. So yeah, it's just a great time in Louisiana for basketball, and I've just been blessed to be a part of it. For 9 years I was here and 8 years in Hammond. You don't find too many coaches that spend 17 years for 2 jobs. So it's going. I felt it was time for growth, for advancement, to go, rub elbows and learn and pick someone else's brain and be a part of a staff to do it a little different. So if and when I do get another chance to be a head coach, maybe it's some other stuff I've learned.
Yeah, I think you took the words a little bit out of my mouth a little bit, and that's a really good thing to hear. We hope that it'll be a good future for you, and hopefully something opens up a little bit for your boy. You know what I'm saying? But that's something, that's a subject for another time. But I want to ask you this, since you are, you officially resigned, you wear the shirt Legendary. That's very, very interesting shirt. We know a rap artist that goes by Legendary in itself, but there's another legend in itself that retired recently, Carlos Sample, Scotlandville. What are your thoughts on his resignation, calling a career at Scotlandville?
Well, I didn't want to wear LSUA. I've got to move on, and I got a closet full of gear, and this was clean. And this is my boy Todd Shelton out in Fort Worth, Texas. He's actually from New Orleans. He went to Bonneville. His brother Trent, he travels all around and has books and speaks, and it's called Rehab Time. And it's just a shirt they sent me, and I wore it. I kind of want to cover it up a little bit because I'm a very modest and humble dude. This ain't nothing to come out here and flaunt. I don't know which rapper. Carlos Sample, I worked with his brother, Coach Banks, for 5 years at Southeastern Louisiana. Can you see me?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Somehow I got my phone hooked up to this. But, Carlos, man, be able to coach his son his senior year, it was tough. But, Derek Jones, to win his first with his son and school history, it's just kind of neat to kind of know all these coaches. And, I know Carlos for a long, long time, not whenever he played or anything like that, but back in the Estruma days, and just to see what he's done at that school and to play in how many state championships in a row? Was it 12?
I think 12 straight.
12? Okay. I was thinking 14, but
yeah.
He played in actually 13 straight state title games. He's won 8, has 5 runner-ups.
It'll be interesting to see where he goes next. I think he did it 2 days before I did it, and it's like, what, if a Coach Carlos can kind of gave me a little confidence, I guess you could say, and he'll have something around the corner for him. I'm sure he's got folks calling, and he probably has to make a decision on what he's going to do. Hopefully he continues to coach. Be a big loss to our sport if he doesn't, but I would assume that he does. He's probably got something up his sleeve, and that's a tough job for whoever's going to follow over there at Scotlandville, man. It's going to be some shoes to fill for sure.
That is like the biggest line we have seen. That's the biggest thing we thought about, but the biggest line we've seen in social media after that announcement. It was like, this is going to be a tough job for somebody who steps in that position. And I feel for that person, whoever steps in, because I hope to God that Scotlandville fan base stays strong for the next coach and don't become ungrateful. I just hope that don't happen, because me and Jared know a couple of ungrateful fan bases around the state, and it's ridiculous what we see. I'm just being real, because people don't know how to enjoy good things, and people don't realize what can happen when a certain coach or person's gone and stuff hit the fan, and it's like, oh, we're starting all over again. Well, you should have been very grateful for what you had. But Coach, I gotta ask you this before I let Jared finish the interview. We talked with Coach Nate earlier. We had to ask you this question about how the young athletes are just making abrupt choices. We talked about John Morant. We talked about I believe it's I think it's Carter from Georgia who's being
Jalen Carter.
Jalen Carter who's actually was involved in some kind of an accident when two people were killed. He's sliding the draft board. Coach, what are your thoughts on what's going on with these young athletes and what's going on? Why they're making these abrupt choices? Is it pressure? Is it something? What do you think is going on?
Well, I'd like to just kind of focus on the positives for sure. I mean, there's a lot of good stories out there that maybe don't always draw the media's attention. And you see someone like John Morant, and I respect. It seems like he's rebounding and he's taking it, like a man, and he's stepping up to the plate, and he's not running from it. And I think that right there is going to be a good start for. There's a lot of people that like John Morant for sure. A lot of players that look up to him. So it's good to see that he's focusing on improving and he took it like a man. And I think that's just a good example right there. So you're going to have some unfortunate things that happen, and I think we just got to continue to coach and guide these. I take big pride in it's bigger than basketball. And I told our players that a good coach can improve your game, a great coach can improve your life. And, just recently in the last year or so, really, I've said that for forever and tried to live that out as well. But the most impactful coaches improves eternities. And, whether it's legacies or, we only have, a short window to coach a year or a career, not very long sometimes. And even for us, and that's kind of me making this decision, we live once. And sometimes we don't get, got to make wise choices. And I am taking a step out there. It's kind of going to be an adventure. But I don't know the unknown and what's going to take place. I'm having faith in God that he's got something for me. But, whether we're coaching junior high or we're coaching G League, anywhere in between, these guys are looking for whether they say it or not. I've gotten so many, and it's been very touching. And you may not get it while you're doing it, but maybe after the fact, like for me right now, man, it's so rewarding to hear from some of these current and former players that we did a decent job and they appreciated it. And so I think we just need to continue to focus on the good, and coaches need to know that players are watching and listening, and that stuff really does matter. We all can't cut down the nets like a Nate or Carlos or Jeff or Charles every single year. And even those guys don't do it every single year. There's things, winning is hard. We got to continue to win lives and make a difference while we can.
Definitely. Coach Cordaro, thank you for joining us on the show tonight. We wish you the best wherever you wind up. We wish you the best and good luck, sir.
Coach,
we'll do it again, man. Hit me up, and maybe I'll put on a logo. I won't wear the hoodie again, but I'll be tuning in, man, more often to this. This is neat that you guys do this for all those fans out there that follow, Louisiana sports and basketball in particular. So
appreciate it,
guys. Thanks for having me.
And Coach, I want to tell you, thank you so much for your support of what I'm doing, not just with Jared, but for me personally. I can also say you're a friend.
We've known each other a long time.
Known each other a long time. We first met at the top 28, man. And he always asks for my information. Anything about players he asks me about. But I ask him about certain people too. But we have a good bond on each other, and we definitely appreciate each other's work. And Coach, congratulations on your decision. My prayers are with you and what you're doing. There's a spot for you, man. All I know is just look out for your boy if you could. If you can't, it's okay. But hopefully, all I know, if you play golf or whatever, let me know. because we might have to go swing a little club a little bit if you want to.
No, I don't play golf. I try to play basketball and get some miles in. That's
There
about
we
it.
go.
There you go.
Yes.
Nothing wrong with that. Coach, thank you so much, man. Appreciate you.
Thank
Yeah,
you, Coach.
appreciate you guys. Good night. Thanks for having me again.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Coach Larry Cordaro. Yes. VK. Now, to what you want to get into. Let's get into it right now.
Okay.
The college basketball men's tournament. Let's talk about that for a little bit.
Yes.
You know, there's been some upsets. You know, Fairleigh Dickinson University, the second 16 seed to beat a number 1 seed. We've had a 15 seed defeat a 2 seed. So far, before we get into the Sweet 16, what are your thoughts about the boys basketball tournament?
Well, it's been a very, very interesting tournament indeed. And all I gotta say is thank goodness I didn't do a bracket. And I don't care what anybody say. You think I'm a coward? I am not. Thank you very much. I haven't watched too much of college basketball, so I'm not falling into the trap. So I choose not to. I have more fun when I don't do a bracket. And I could just make my analysis of surprises. It's not surprising some of these upsets. Not at all. Not surprising that Purdue went down.
Not this year, would it being wide open?
Right. Not surprising that Purdue went down because of the fact, talking with a couple of people, including George Peppers, a lot of people said this Purdue team is good, but not as good as last season. Not as strong as last season. And it was proven against Fairleigh Dickinson. Give a lot of credit to them. And also how they hung tough on Sunday, lost to Florida Atlantic, but gave them hell.
Yes,
and
they
if
did.
if you took Fairleigh Dickinson in the points, get your money. They was 15-point underdogs. I said I'd take Fairleigh Dickinson and shoot. I know people got money on that. So regardless of the fact, big ups to them, big ups to the underdogs who have stepped up. I'm more shocked and surprised what happened to Marquette on Sunday. It seemed like
I'm not.
It seemed like this year is expected unexpected. Because the fact of the matter is maybe the old guard might come back or some sort of a new guard. I'm surprised at Marquette losing. I thought Michigan State was going. I knew the game was going to be close, but I thought Marquette was going to pull away. I thought this was Shaka Smart's best team and best chance for them maybe to win it all.
It was.
And I tell you,
was.
They still got some good players coming back next season.
Yes, they do.
They do. And I tell you that Marquette will be back. But I'm just surprised and how Michigan State finished them off. Big ups going to Tom Izzo and his squad. That's probably one of his best coaching jobs he's maybe ever done.
You can't ever count out Tom Izzo in an NCAA tournament.
No.
Period.
Not at all. No.
I mean, he's been a 7 seed before when he's gotten to the Final Four. So you cannot ever count out Tom Izzo. The guy is a phenomenal coach. And you can say maybe he outcoached Shaka Smart just a little bit. Maybe.
I can agree with that. I can agree with that. I can agree with that. You know what I'm saying? I think this was Shaka's first year or second year Marquette.
Second year.
So second year. They're gonna be back more than ever. They're gonna be back deeper than ever. And definitely Marquette's gonna have a chance to win it all next season as well. They were just so good. It was just the fact they ran into a roadblock at the wrong time late. And Michigan State took advantage.
Sure did.
So big ups going to Michigan State. And then Kentucky losing, not a surprise
at all.
Not a surprise. Kansas State proves that they are a really, really good team.
Big 12.
They beat Kansas. Hey, you were right about the Big 12. You were right about the Big 12. They're a better conference than I thought they were.
Thank you, sir.
They're a better conference than I thought they were. I'm going to give them that because I really thought, but then I think the only team that really got Kansas this year was Kansas State. But at the same time, TCU did get them. So, it's a better conference than everybody thinks. Texas, Lord Jesus. Did Texas in the Sweet 16 or they lost? They're very fortunate. They're very, 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 very fortunate because you have to think not too many assistant coach teams make it deep these days, and that's huge for them. That's very huge because, like I said, we talked about the certain assistant coaches that made deep runs in the tournament, and we haven't seen that in a long freaking
Texas
time.
to the Final Four.
So,
Texas to the Final Four is in my bracket.
who Texas got next?
Xavier.
That's where they fall.
Oh, you think so?
Sean Miller is gonna have them boys ready.
Sean Miller gonna have
Sean
them ready.
Miller. Let me
Going
let me
down.
tell you something.
He
Let me
going-
tell you something. It ain't
going
it ain't going down. Let me tell you something
Come on.
right now. Sean
Going
Miller
down.
is back. Let me tell you something. Sean Miller is back to where he belongs at Xavier. They're going up to the Final Four. Xavier to the Final Four.
I got
I'm telling you.
Texas beating Houston in the Final Four.
Oh
Forget the Final
no,
Four. Texas.
you're going.
Yes.
You're going. Wait. You're going to have the most hated team in Texas take out my provincial favorite to win it all, but not just my provincial favorite, but you're going to take out the hometown team in the Final Four.
Texas
Man,
will
Austin gonna
make
burn
that
that. Boy,
their
man,
hometown. It's happening.
Austin gonna get burned down, dog. I'm telling you now.
We gonna see.
Houston,
We gonna see.
I'm just saying. Looking at the history of Texas college sports and stuff. University of Texas is the most hated school. Like, no disrespect to the school, great programs, but they are the most hated school in that state. And especially for Houston fans, oh, they're not gonna like that.
They can get ready.
Big time. Well, all I know,
best
Houston
still out injured. He ain't playing.
And they blowing people out. Houston playing well, and they scoring.
They had to come back in the last game. They had to come back. They were down.
They're scoring over 70. That's huge to compare to early in the year.
Going down. But anyway,
Houston is not going down.
Let's get to these picks. These Sweet 16 picks.
Let's get these picks.
All right. Let's get so Thursday.
I enjoyed the tournament. Oh, before you go forward, to all you Duke fans, stop with all this stupidness and all this stuff. So what? We didn't make the tournament. So what? We didn't want no freaking NIT invitation after the disappointing year we had. We didn't need to go. So plain and simple to you Duke fans out there and everything else, you lost again. You're going to have to make up for 3 years after what UNC has done a year ago. What we done twice, it trumps 10 years of what you did. So kiss my Converse, Duke fans. Move on to the picture.
Oh man, had a rant. Oh man, Jesus Christ!
I had to let that out.
Jeez.
Because we have not been on in a week, and you've been seeing them posts from them Duke fans, especially our number one Duke fan itself.
I've seen it.
So they're gonna call me. Oh yeah. We know you're the president of the Dick Pick Riders Club since 1993.
PG show.
I didn't curse.
PG
I didn't
show.
curse.
Watch it.
I said pick. I didn't say the other word.
Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, here we go.
I said
Thursday, Sweet 16 game. East region, Michigan State versus Kansas State. I'm going Tom Izzo, Michigan State.
I like Tom Izzo, but I'm gonna go with Kansas State. I like their coach. I like what he has done turning around that program, picking things up. I like that guard they got, and that dude Marshall has been on fire since he had transferred there, and he is on a roll so far in this tournament. I like Kansas State.
All right. In the West region, we got Arkansas taking on UConn. I think this is going to be a good matchup, but I think the Huskies pull it out in a close one.
I think the Huskies pull it out in a close one too. Arkansas, and they upset one of your favorite teams, and that wasn't a good one for you. Like I told you, assistant coaches, it don't make it too deep. Texas is the rarity, but not surprised. I know it hurts, man. And Eric Musselman, he's been there and done that, baby. So it's not a surprise.
Who you got? Arkansas?
I got UConn.
You got UConn too.
I got UConn. I got UConn in a close one.
The later games, FAU taking on Tennessee. I'm going with the Volunteers and Coach Rick Barnes.
I'm going to pick the upset.
You going FAU?
I'm going Florida. I'm going FAU. Tennessee has been good lately, but they're one of the most up and down teams of this year in college basketball. I think it's going to be a very close game. I think and FAU has been rolling.
Yeah,
I mean, the high
they hot.
scoring. They've been so consistent. Probably the best Conference USA team they have had in a long, long time. So I like FAU close game and an upset.
All right. And then the late game, main event, Gonzaga, UCLA. I got the Bruins. I got the Bruins in this one.
Should be a close game. I hate to do this, but I'm gonna be bold on this one. How about the sweet revenge of the Zags? Take down the favorite national champions and move on. I got the Zags over UCLA by that much. It's gonna be that close coming up on Thursday night. I know people gonna laugh at me, but hey, you had that look on your face when Kansas lost to Arkansas. So
Yeah,
trust me, you'll have that
gave the
look on
game
Thursday
away. It was
night.
by double digits. Anyway, the Friday night games: San Diego State, Alabama.
Oh,
Yeah, I think San Diego State coming with it. They coming with it, but they lose by a little. I got the Tide, Alabama, by a few. I don't think Alabama covered the spread. 7.5 point favorites. I don't think they even cover the spread.
I think they don't even cover the spread either. I would love to go with San Diego State, but I'm gonna stick with Bama in a close one. San Diego State got a really good coach in Brian Dutcher. He's gonna have them boys ready. The long-time assistant under Steve
Yes.
Fisher. He recruited the Fab Five.
Yep.
He's got a good team in San Diego State, and they're trying to make up for a couple years ago in the pandemic when he had one of his best teams, and it was his first year, and they couldn't even play. So I really think they're gonna make it a game. I would be surprised they might have a chance to win it, but I got Bama in a close game.
In the
Take the points.
Midwest region,
Please take the points.
Miami and Houston. Houston can't start off slow. They start off slow, they're in trouble. But I think the Houston Cougars will find a way to win this game.
I think Houston has been outstanding scoring the ball. I was afraid of something early in the year looking at Houston a couple games that, okay, great defense, but you got to score the ball. If you could score over 60, you're guaranteed you're going to win a lot of games. Second half of the season, Houston has been averaging over 68 points a game. That is huge for them. So far in the NCAA tournament, over 72. That's big. I like them. I think they're going to have a fast start, and I think they're going to put the foot on the gas and beat Miami.
South region, 15 seed Princeton, 6 seed Creighton. It's a tough one. Tough one.
That's tough. It's a tough one. Evenly matched.
Yeah.
It's an evenly matched
Yeah,
game.
and that Princeton offense is something else, man. I'm going with Princeton.
Backdoor cuts.
I'm going with Princeton.
I would love to go with Princeton. I'm gonna go with Creighton. The Big East is just too strong this year. It's gonna be very, very close. Anybody can win this ball game. Anybody can win it, but I'm gonna stick with Creighton because that Big East is really, really strong. But it's gonna come down to the last seconds in that ball game.
All right, the late night game. The late game. Xavier,
The late night.
Texas. We already said it. Sean Miller
You already
and
go.
Xavier going home. Texas Longhorns to the Elite Eight. It's happening.
Xavier Musketeers return to the Elite Eight. Sean Miller, redemption time for Xavier. He's going to get Xavier to the Final Four. He came back to Xavier for a reason. He should have never left Xavier. Now he's
He did
back.
good at Arizona. He did a good job at Arizona.
I didn't say he didn't do a good job.
I know.
But at the same time, all that mess.
He left for more money.
I'm no, listen. I understand it was more money. I'm not knocking that. I'm just saying what he built over there at Xavier was freaking ridiculous, and they was on a cusp of winning a championship before he left.
Yep.
So now he's back to try to redeem a program that he built, and now to get them back to where they need to be. He's not going anywhere. So now he's back. they're coming for redemption. I think he did great at Arizona, except for the mess that came upon him. So now it's great that he's back at Xavier. It's redemption time for the Musketeers. I understand about your Longhorns. It's been great run, kind of a lucky run, but it's gonna end. It's gonna end. I get it. Texas is talented. They're good. You hop on so many teams.
I don't have anything.
Dog.
I just like college sports. That's it.
Okay.
I
Of course you
no
do.
team. I like college
Of course
sports.
you do.
Let's keep it real.
Of course you do.
Now,
Okay.
let's get to the girls right quick. Let's get to these girls right quick before we end this show. All right, let's talk about it. We saw number 1 seed Stanford lose to Ole Miss. We saw number 1.
Wow, that was. I'm not gonna say it was surprising, because it was surprising at the fact that Ole Miss finished off Stanford. I thought Stanford would get to the national championship game, but I just knew right then and there Ole Miss was gonna give them a ball game. Me and George Peppers were watching some of that, and the way they started, I said, "Man, Ole Miss come to play."
Oh, Ole Miss. No, I'm sorry. That's right. Ole Miss. Yes.
I said, Ole Miss come to play. I'm like, Coach Yo got them ready.
Yeah,
it's gonna be interesting.
Yes.
And for them to finish the game off and finish off Stanford after Stanford charged back, I was like, wow. I was like, bruh, now who is gonna go against South Carolina now? But big ups going to Coach Yo and Ole Miss for pulling off the upset. To me, that's the story of the weekend out of everybody in women's basketball. Or if you got something else, Indiana. I forgot about that. Indiana
Miami defeating
Miami.
Indiana on a game-winning shot. Miami
at Indiana.
Wow.
The double whammy for Indiana. Good night. The men and then the women on the same night. On the same night. Listen, on the same night, in the same, almost not the same time, same night, in about a couple minutes apart, maybe about 20 minutes apart, 15, at the same time. Indiana, I ain't gonna lie, I can't say I feel sorry for University of Indiana a little bit. Indiana University, I really do, because that's a big time hurt. That's as bad with what happened to Duke last year. Coach K losing twice to Carolina. That's really, really bad.
Carolina retired
I think
too.
Carolina, that's it. Bang! Bang! Bang do things. That's right. So that really hurts for Indiana University in itself. You know what I'm saying? And I don't think no coaches are gonna get fired. I think it's just a fact.
No.
It was just happenstance. Very fortunate. What a history-making moment for the University of Miami.
Yeah.
Big time bounce back after what the football program and the other programs had suffered over the years. But hey, basketball is holding it down, and baseball is holding it down at the University of Miami. So big ups to them. But I'll tell you later on which coach might be. I'm gonna tell you the coach that might be in trouble men's basketball right fast. I think this person is gonna be in a lot of trouble to me, because I think for years that program has given a legendary coach grace, but I think they're gonna run out of patience. Don't be surprised. Matt Painter might be in trouble. Matt Painter might be he might be in trouble.
Been there for a long time.
So he's been there a long time, and he was the disciple of Gene Katie. For Gene Katie. He played with Big Dog Robinson. Mm-hmm. And how in the hell they lost the Duke of the Elite Eight, I still don't know. But at the same time, for him to lose 3 straight years against double-digit seeds, I don't want him to. I think he's a straight coach. I think he's not bad. But at the same time, I don't know if they're going to give him the grace like Purdue gave Gene Katie. This is going to be tough, because that's hard. That's really hard to just lose 3 straight years against double-digit seeds like that. And this time you're 1 seed and you lose to a 16. It's going to be tough times. Tough times out there in Purdue. That's a cursed program. That is truly, truly a cursed program.
Yep.
Because there were 3 different times they were in the Elite Eight, should have won and did not get to the Final Four. They should have took down Virginia, who eventually won the national championship, but should have beat Virginia. I do not know how they lost that game. I still don't understand. But regardless of the fact, moving on to the women, it's
Yes.
just
Back
been
to the
one.
women.
It's been an interesting tournament
It has.
in itself. What else did happen in the tournament besides the 2 biggest upsets we have seen so far?
I don't know, man.
We know Caitlin Clark went off against Southeastern,
Angel
and
Reese, I think,
Angel
made
Reese.
history with 25 and 24 and 6 blocks. Like first person to ever do that in a tournament game or something like that.
How was your experience out there at that day at LSU? I want to hear a little bit of it.
So I went to the LSU girls basketball game Sunday against Michigan. It wasn't sold out, but man, that crowd was jumping, bro. It was loud. I mean, very loud, man, and it was very, very exciting. To see Angel Reese play in person. She had 14 rebounds in the first quarter. And to see her play in person, I'm like, okay, yeah, she's pretty good. She's pretty good. And then
she taller than you think, she more taller than you
they
think.
say she's 6'2", but she has super long arms.
She do.
Her wingspan is what makes up for it.
Mm-hmm.
She looks taller than 6'2", but I'm going by what they say. Alexis Morris running the point looks good. Jasmine Carden, I think her last name is Carden, off the bench can shoot the ball. Flau'jae Johnson, who was All-American last year,
and a rapper,
yeah. She's struggling with her jumper right now. But defensively, LSU was on point, so they look very good. Ball movement was good. The zone that Michigan played did not help at all. So, things looking good for LSU. But other than that, my first time back in the PMAC in 20 years, pretty much, or almost 20 years, man. It was a great, great feeling, and was happy to be a part of that game.
Well, I have to experience a game in the PMAC since I tell you, I've been in LSU football games. I've been to the baseball games a bunch of times. I have not been to LSU basketball games since I was younger. I went, and I wasn't even at the PMAC; it was at the Superdome. So it's been a long time since I've been to LSU. Now I went to see the LSU women at Tulane, but I haven't been to the PMAC. I haven't been to the PMAC since the last time the top 28 was in the PMAC, and that's in 95.
In Baton Rouge?
Actually 90, was it 95? 95.
Oh, wow. Okay, cool.
95. Was it 95? No, 95. No, 96. 96 was the last time. And that's before they moved the top 28 to Lafayette.
Gotcha.
So yeah. So that was the last time I've been to the PMAC. And it was really, really interesting and fun going to those top 28 state championships and supporting the Purple Knights and everything else. It was an interesting time, but I've never been there since then. I do want to go there one time. Look like we might have to make a trip next season for LSU women. I know they're gonna be popping. I don't know about the men. I know the women's gonna be popping in itself. Did you get an autograph at least, or at least a picture with Angel Reese or Flau'jae, Mr. Steal Your Dibs?
Nah. It was after 8:45. Had to get back home. Had to get cousin Parker back home because Parker works at a news station in Biloxi, so we had to get back home. So I didn't go down there and try to get no autographs or nothing.
Okay, so you had Parker with you. All right. Yeah. Big shout out to Parker, man. Doing his thing out there at WLOX up in Biloxi. Proud of you, man. Keep doing what you're doing. But yeah, I'm glad you had enjoyed yourself. Me and George's experience on Sunday was quite that's all I can say, because we went to 2 establishments of the same name. Not going to say the name, and it's in a location across the water. I'm in the West Bank, but it's somewhere across the water. But we go to one place, one of the NCAA tournament games on. We there. It took a minute for us to even get our drinks. It took a minute to get our god dog on appetizers. And the thing was, you had a classic NFL game on, and just that one tournament. I'm like, why there are not multiple screens with games on? LSU game on. It's 6:30. We're trying to get the LSU game on. They turn on the other NCAA game, Utah and Princeton. So the manager in the back, and they're saying he's debating about putting the LSU women's game on. And it's like, what in the world? They should have that on, including other tournament games. So with that being said, we told the lady finally brought us our drinks. I said, give us the checks because we're ready to go because we can't stay here for this. So we got our checks. We rolled. We went to same establishment, another location. We tried to go to another famous one, but it was packed. So we decided to go to the other location. We go there. At first, everything was okay. And I'm like, okay, the game's on. We okay chilling. And we get our drinks. And then all of a sudden, it took a minute. Like, George gets his platter first. It take a minute to get my god doggone main platter. So I get the main platter and everything and stuff like that. And all right, everything is cool. And then all of a sudden, we about to shut it down. We decided to get a maybe a little dessert. Man, why it took us freaking 25 to 30 minutes to get our desserts? 25 to 30 minutes to get cheesecake, dog. Bruh. Even the bartender who was helping us was like, man, I don't know what they're doing. Look, I'm gonna make it myself. I'm so sorry. I told the manager to get a discount for you. That's ridiculous. And we felt bad for him because it's like, wait, we seen about 4 servers up in there. Like, what are you doing? Like, oh my God. Dude,
Well,
this was terrible service, and I'm sorry. I think that particular place might get punishment from us for a little while because that's ridiculous. That's truly ridiculous on a Sunday. And how in the world in one place you got 60 minutes running and not have another game on? I'm sorry, bro. Get it together. Please get it together. For me and George Peppers, you're on punishment until you get straight. Whatever you do, I think it's something about Sundays. Don't go to that place on Sundays. You can go in with place any
they ain't
time of the
worried
week.
about y'all.
Okay.
They ain't worried about
No. But they lost a lot of customers that night too.
you.
So
I
we
believe
wasn't
that.
the only ones.
I believe
So
that.
they need to get it together. Real talk. Because you're gonna lose a lot more customers than that. I'm saying because this is March Madness. It's a Sunday. We understand this ain't no regular Sunday. This is March freaking Madness. Games should be on the screen. Your server should be serving. Even if they got a lot of people, it ain't packed out. Do your job. That's all
Well,
we asking.
I'ma say this. I didn't have that problem at Twin Peaks in Baton Rouge. I didn't have that problem at all. Got my drinks, got my
See,
food, got my
oh,
food. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, we straight. We was straight.
see, and you're right because I've been to that Twin Peaks in Baton Rouge too. Because one night, me and my partner, we up in there. We go meet up at Top Golf. We were gonna
Yeah.
swing it a little bit. It was gonna be it's about like an hour wait. So like, all right, like hour and a half wait. I was like, all right, cool. So we're trying to get food and drink over there. Man, these people over there, them servers acting kind of stupid. We waited 10 minutes, ain't getting served. I said, you know what? Let's go right to Twin Peaks. And guess what? Everything serves right there.
Yeah, you have it.
Serves right there.
There you
Dude,
go.
you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yep.
but you know, I'm gonna tell you off there, but you should have an idea of what it is. You probably seen the post already. And that's sad. You've been in that place before. It's sad. That's surprising. Because come on, man. You don't I've been in that place multiple times. I don't usually get bad service, but then it does depend on who's there. Because if it's unfamiliar people or people that are stressed out or different management, might be a different type of atmosphere. It might not be a good night to be there. Because
Well,
trust me, it was
it was just a
more
bad night.
bad
Bad.
night.
That's all. Bad
Because
night.
bad night. Bad night. Could have been a better night than it is. But I'm not tripping. I enjoyed the games. It was just the fact that I'm glad you had a better experience than we did because I just wish we would have had better dang on service. But it is what it is. I'm not tripping on that. But I know that other establishment with the skimpy legs that besides Peaks, they're gonna get a visit from us sooner than later because that other place on punishment. I'm just saying.
All right.
I love that other place. I really do. But you're on punishment right now. That's not cool. I can't have constant experiences like that. I just
Man,
can't. Because
I went to hey, I went to
you would do that
that
too.
place
You
you
would do
talking
that.
about. I went to it in Lake Charles. It was so good, so
Oh, you talking about? Oh, of course. It's always good. I've been
good.
there too. It's always good when you go there. It's great service at that place. That spot is great in Lake Charles. It's great everywhere. Algiers is kind of up and down. That's why we went to that particular location. And
That's
I'm
why
thinking
they
it's
knew
all
y'all.
good.
They knew y'all West Bankers.
Oh no, don't give
We
me
got
that.
like all these
That's
West
not
Bankers coming in here right now. Uh, all
no,
right,
because
look.
yeah,
Let's get
whatever.
to these ladies games and end this show.
Yeah,
All right, so these games starting kind of early. We're gonna
of
start with
course.
the Greenville region at 1:30 on a Friday.
And before you go forward, it's a freaking tragedy what NCAA women's doing with two damn regionals. Shame on yourself, NCAA. Shame on yourself. Just two women's regionals? That's ridiculous, man. Y'all trying to save money? You noticed that, right?
I just noticed that. I did not know that.
It's just two regions. They got a region one, region two, in two areas. Two, like, what the hell? Like, dude, the NCAA Women's Committee has been criticized these last couple of years over some stupid stuff. One was the facilities at the hotels that women are being worked, not getting the proper equipment and everything else. And now you're going to cut. Now you're cutting the regions just to two. I hope this ain't no annual thing because if it's an annual thing, if I'm Kim Mulkey and some of these other people, I would protest the NCAA because it's almost like we're working hard to go play in South Carolina's backyard. Come on, man. That's not fair.
All right, I'll say this in regards to the first two rounds. I do like the fact that the higher seed one, two, three, and four gets to host it. Because you look at
I agree.
the men's regionals, the first two rounds, ain't nobody been there. Nobody in the stands. Nobody. Just
Exactly.
saying.
But see, the thing is, they've been doing that for the women's thing that they do. They've been doing that for years.
A long time.
They've been doing
Yes.
it a long, long
Long time.
time. I remember in the beginning when LSU basketball in '95 was it '96? They finally '96 to '97. They finally had got a good team, and they under Sue Gunter, and they wound up getting a region. They hosted the region at LSU. That's why the top 28 at the time moved to Lafayette.
Had to move. Yeah.
They had to move because
They had to move.
LSU started hosting
Comes
those
first.
tournament games.
Comes first.
It comes first. So
Yep.
at the time, but see, they've been doing that for a long time, and that's the good thing. This is
Yeah.
the only bad thing. It's just now you got the region,
Two
the Sweet
regionals.
16, the two regions instead of four regionals to try to get for Final Four. I just hope this is not an annual thing. But see, it just depends on where your region is in the men's. It could be a good thing, it could be a bad thing. Like, for example, it depends on where the teams are. They're trying to keep it geographically close, but it just depends on who's there. It's just like when North Carolina, when you got a good North Carolina team, and if they would have had a good North Carolina team, they would have been in Greensboro. And guess what? You'd have had a lot of people there either way, and you have a lot of money. I went to NCAA regional. North Carolina was in it. Davis and Steph Curry at the time. I was there for all that. And when I say some monster crowds, it was some monster crowds there. It just varies on the teams who make it. If it's first timers, you might have some really good crowds, but you might not because some of the parents might make it, but alumni and stuff, they might can't afford plane ticket, all this other stuff and whatever. But I ain't gonna lie, the game tickets are not bad to get. Because if you could get, I'm telling you now, that's why it's the best value ticket in sports, in my opinion. it's a little more cheaper than the Super Bowl. You can get first, second round tickets, and you could get a book, and you can pay maybe about up to, if you get the cheap sheets, maybe 100 for the whole weekend. That's 10 times better than the Super Bowl. That's why I love the NCAA tournament.
All right. Let's get to the women right quick. Here we
Yes,
go. Greenville Regional 2, 1:30 Friday. Miami.
regional too.
Yeah. Miami, Villanova. Who you got?
Well, I tell you, man, Miami has been really strong. They have been really surprising a lot of folks. But I got Villanova. I heard a lot of big time things about them, and they're having a really, really big year this year. They really fought in that Big East against UConn, giving UConn probably the biggest challenge they've ever gotten in the Big East ever. So I like Villanova in this ball game. Close, but they'll pull away.
I like Miami. I like Destiny Harden. I like the Cavender sisters who can shoot. I'm going
Who that? That
the
Cavender?
Cavender twin sisters. Yes,
Cavender. Okay.
Cavenders.
Okay.
The Cavenders. Yes,
Cavenders.
they can
Okay.
shoot the ball. I'm going Miami.
Okay.
4 o'clock Friday. Utah, LSU. Who you have? Greenville Regional 2.
I think LSU is gonna be way too much on the inside, especially with Angel Reese and company, Flajay Johnson. I think they crashed the boards very, very well. I think they're gonna play their pace. Utah's gonna want to run LSU. It'll be interesting early, but I think LSU pulls away and wins.
Utah will not be able to run LSU. LSU is too athletic for Utah. And if you saw what Princeton was doing in Utah this past Sunday, it's about to get real. LSU defeats Utah, hands down. Seattle Regional 4, Colorado, Iowa. I think it'll be a good matchup. And I think Iowa. Iowa has your girl that I cannot think of her name, who could shoot
Caitlin
like Steph.
Clark.
There you go. Shoot like Steph Curry. I got
Caitlin Clark. Everybody named Mama keep on telling me, including in a big shout out. I'm gonna say her name. We'll have on the show soon. Debbie Antonelli, and very, very nice lady. And I'm telling you now, I met her at St. Charles for the Southland Conference Championship. Very, very nice lady. Does a lot of stuff at ESPN. Does a lot of stuff. She did some tournament games in CBS, so she does a great job. Everybody in the mom, including her. Oh, you can't forget about Caitlin Clark in Iowa. So I tell you, Caitlin Clark is unbelievable. Hold on, Jared. JB is frozen, ladies and gentlemen. Oh my God. JB is straight frozen. Oh goodness. Wait a minute. Hold on. Lord, with mercy. He said, you are frozen, my friend. Lord, have mercy. Oh man. Come back
Hey, how
in
you
the
doing,
hey.
what's going on?
Woo! See,
I,
it's something else when you're not the host of the show, and it's almost like you try to pick it. I can pick it up now. I can pick it up,
oh, I know you
but
can. Yeah, I know you can.
it's just like I ain't got the script in front of me, and it's like, whoa, where we at now? You
I know
know.
you can. All right, here we go. Ole Miss against Louisville.
But like I
Seattle Regional
said,
4. Go
like I
ahead.
said, like I said, Debbie Antonelli will have her on the show soon. You ought
Yes,
to know who she is. I'm telling you, she's unbelievable. She's great. But everybody in the mom, including her, don't forget about Caitlin Clark.
Katie Clark.
Mhm.
Yes. All right.
I got Iowa in that game too.
All right. Ole Miss, Louisville, Seattle Regional 4, the other semifinal, 9 o'clock that night. Tough one for me, bro. I ain't gonna lie. This is a tough one. I mean, Ole Miss defeated Stanford. Can Ole Miss get past Louisville? I'm gonna say no. I got Louisville.
I'm gonna go, and I like Louisville. That ACC is tough as nails this year,
Yeah.
but the SEC is tough too.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with Coach Yo and Ole Miss. Get to the Elite Eight.
All right.
I'm gonna go with Coach Yo. Coach
Coach
Yo, and
Yo.
I'm telling you, Coach McClellan has done a great job with the program. She's also coached a couple people that I knew personally in Mississippi. Used to play at old. I think she used to. Well, she knows a couple coach. I don't think she coached them, but she had been associated with former alumni at Ole Miss, and they've been pulling for a lot. And also, Coach McClung, actually recruited my niece
Okay.
long time ago. So got a little connections with her. So she's done a great job, and it's just amazing how the mighty has fallen in Mississippi State after Vic Schaefer leaving Texas,
Mm-hmm.
and now she is taking over Ole Miss, and Ole Miss is taking over women's basketball. But I think they've been having a great season. They're one of those SEC teams that's continue to climb, and their time is coming, and their time is
I
right
think
now.
so.
I got Ole Miss in the Elite Eight.
All right. The Friday games, excuse me, the Saturday games for the women, and it's all 1, 2, 3, 4 seeds. We'll start with the Greenville Regional 1, Notre Dame, Maryland. I got the Fighting Green Irish. Or the Fighting Irish. I'm sorry, not the Green Irish. The Fighting Irish of Notre Dame.
And who Notre Dame has? They got
Maryland.
Maryland. That's gonna be a good game.
It
That is
will.
gonna be a real good game. Former ACC rivals. I think Brenda Freeze has done a really great job with her program. It's gonna be a really close game.
Ain't Notre Dame women in the ACC still?
Yeah, Notre Dame women in the ACC still.
And Maryland Big Ten. That's right.
Maryland, yeah,
Big Ten.
Maryland used to be there, but now they're in the
That's
Big Ten.
right.
All right. I like Brenda Freeze. Her
Brenda
team has done a
Freeze, good coach.
very good coach. Nail Ivy has done a hell of a job picking up the slack, picking up where Muffin McGraw left off.
Yeah.
I like what she's doing. She's good looking as well. Her son got a great future in the league. You know,
Yeah.
I'm hoping that woman's single, but it is what it is. But I follow her on Twitter, but she does some great stuff. I'm just saying, I like Nadia Alive, and not just as a person, but as a coach. She's done a great job in Notre Dame. I'm gonna go with the Fighting Irish in a close one.
All right. The next game.
I know you.
South Carolina.
Now I know your cousin might probably run into her sometime on campus.
I'm sure he does.
I wouldn't be surprised. Oh my
I'm
God.
sure he has. Got a kid outside out of nowhere, just loud, loud, loud.
Oh,
But anyway,
goodness.
number 1 seed, South Carolina taking on the 4 seed UCLA. I got South Carolina.
Well, it looks like UCLA is gonna go down both ways. South Carolina all day, every day.
All day, every day, huh?
All day, every day, South Carolina.
All right.
That I just saying. Who is the team? Whoever go against them in the championship. That's just what it is. This is just one of them seasons.
Seattle Regional 3, Ohio State versus UConn. I got UConn, and I told people this. If Paige Beckers was playing, UConn might be able to beat South Carolina, but there's no Paige Beckers. But I think UConn for the Elite Eight.
She's hurt again.
Been hurt the whole season.
Oh, I thought she was playing. I thought she came back.
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's why UConn had got really roughed up a little this year. I get it. It's says UConn versus
Ohio State.
I think UConn wins. I think Gino gets them together, and I think they'll get it done.
And Saturday, 5:30, Tennessee taking on Virginia Tech.
Interesting.
Very
interesting.
Let this number 1 seed go down in the Sweet 16. Tennessee kind of on fire a little bit. Lady Balls.
Does Coach Kelly finally get the Lady Vols back to prominence? Is this the time they get them back to prominence? They've been on the cusp, climbing, but can't win that big game to get them over. Could they get it over against Virginia Tech? I think the experience will come through for Tennessee. I think the experience will come through. Virginia Tech is a good team. Really good team this year. Breakout season for them. Big ups for them. But I think Coach Kelly Pecker is going to, and the former really used to be Kelly Jolly for Tennessee. And she played with, I think she played with I know she played with Samika Holslaw, and I know she played with Tamika Catchings. So Kelly Jolly, trying to bring things back. I think she gets them finally over the hump, and Tennessee goes to Elite Eight.
So we get a Tennessee UConn matchup.
For the first time in I don't know how long. I think Pat Summit is gonna be smiling down on all of us.
He ain't
if that
smiling
happens.
down. She said you better kick Gino's you know what, because she didn't like Gino.
Oh, well, I'm gonna say this. At first, she didn't like Gino, but then all of a sudden they had a great respect for each other in the end
Yeah,
of her
they always
career.
had respect, but I think that's they
A
just didn't.
competitive, yes,
Yes,
but at the same
personally,
but at the same time, I can understand how she didn't like him because the fact of the matter is Gino became the new bully on the block. Because you had to think Tennessee was running things in women's basketball for a hot minute.
yeah.
Then all of a sudden, here come UConn coming in there with Rebecca Lobo and them. They undefeated, took down Tennessee, and all of a sudden they started being Tennessee a little bit. So it's almost like, hey, we know you're good. Gino was like, we know you're good. No disrespect, Pat. We know you're a legend, but we're here now. And that's what I loved about the rivalry.
Gino
I
supports
love the rivalry.
the
Like to me,
Pat Summit foundation and everything. He supports it 100%.
big time. Because here's the thing: he always gave respect. Gino always gave respect to Pat.
Always.
Always. Pat just didn't like him, but because of the fact that she was the queen and she ran that thing a long time. But all of a sudden, she started feeling some type of no disrespect. And I love Pat Summit, but no disrespect. Some people get some type of way when your match come, and it's like, uh-oh, how I gotta shake them off. Dang, I got somebody as good as me now. How did it happens? Competition comes.
Pat sat there and said, if he was stuck on the side of the road, she would not help him.
That is not surprising. You know what I'm saying? The only person I just always feel bad for in women's college basketball, and it's amazing she's still coaching. I'm surprised that she's not retired, and I'm hoping she does. And that's let me think. Who was the coach at Rutgers? Who's been there a long time?
Oh man, yeah, your girl.
Yeah, she been there a long time because she was at Iowa and led them to the Final Four. And I'm gonna look that up right now.
I'm getting it.
Yeah, please do, because she's a legend in itself.
Vivian Stringer.
Vivian Stringer. Is she still the coach? Because Vivian.
No. So ever since 2022, May 23rd, 2022, Coquise Washington named Rutgers head women's basketball coach. So for 1 year now, she's been gone. One season.
Vivian Stringer is amazing. She was like 89 coaching college basketball.
Looking good.
And she looked good. She looked good for 89.
Good.
Grandma looked good.
Looking good.
Vivian's got to be about 90. And I tell you, man, it's amazing because that's somebody grandma coaching. Yeah. And I'm like, the time when, and I remember when they made the Final Four and got the
She's 75 right now.
What? She's 75? Man, I thought she 75. Was 80 something.
Yeah.
I thought she was 80 something years old, man.
75. See
Vivian, man. She's an amazing mind.
Legend.
She's a legend. She's been in this game for so long. And I remember when she took Iowa to the Final Four. And I mean, I never would see to this day that an African-American women's coach took a team to the next level. And it gave me hope.
Each school she went to, they went to the Final Four. Shaney State in 82, Iowa in 93, and Rutgers in 2000 and 2007. Speaks a lot.
And I tell you, Rutgers, she had some squads.
She did.
She had some squads, bro. Yep. I remember two of those players came down here before they came to Rutgers, and they played in a showcase tournament. Yep. That was Kia Vaughn and Epiphany Prince. I seen them two in person before they were the Rutgers, and they were killing in.
Yeah.
Bruh, I was like, who are these girls? They came out of New York on a team, and I was like, oh my God, these girls is really good. Now, all of a sudden, when you see them at Rutgers, I'm like, oh God. I'm like, dog, if Rutgers don't win the national championship, something wrong. But at the same time, it gave me hope for more African Americans, including myself or whatever, to thrive in sports, especially seeing what C. Vivian Stringer has done. Speaking of about legends, but at the same time, yeah, something we see UConn and Tennessee. Yeah, that'd be great.
Most definitely. Everybody, thank y'all for joining us. This upcoming Thursday, we have the interview with Shaw's wrestling coach, Brandon Surracy. That most likely will be straight to YouTube, more than likely.
What
So
time? What
I'm
time?
waiting. I'm waiting for him to get back with me, and I will let you know.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. Because
So
I got some stuff I need to take care of. But let me know the time. I can make my time to get there. Because I know it'll probably be afternoon, which is fine, and
I got
we'll
you.
get it out the way. I want
Oh
to try
yeah.
and get some stuff out the way because I got with that this weekend before we go any further. TSBNsports.com. TSBNsports.com. Nunez Delgado will kick the Region 23 conference this weekend, Saturday, Sunday, and Tuesday. We got a doubleheader Saturday starting at 1 p.m. We got a 9-inning game Sunday. I believe that's 12 noon. And then on Tuesday, we have a neutral site game, which most likely will be at Kirsch Rooney as well. So we'll let you know the time on a neutral site game when, but I tell you, tune in this weekend, tsbnsports.com. Nunez Delgado, the home of Region 23 baseball.
There you have it. Tune in, everybody. Tune in. For my main man, VK Jones.
When the next show, besides our interview with Cersei?
Depends on when you free. Monday you free? Or you doing a game?
I think Monday I'm good because that neutral site game is going to be Tuesday.
All right, cool. We'll work on getting guests for that show. And we'll have a show on Monday. There we go.
That's
Simple
it.
as that.
Simple.
For VK Jones, I'm JB, your sports guy. Please continue to tune in. Let the world know about us. Share, like, subscribe, all that good stuff. We appreciate each and every one of y'all who always tune in to watch.
Tune in every week, man. We taking
here.
it. We taking this show to another level. You know, two of the best sports talk guys in the city. You got the best sports talk in the city. We got the best guests. We going all over the place, man. You know, this ain't just New Orleans. We're all over the state, all over the nation. We're
That's
getting
right.
people on, man. So we gonna have sports people, entertainment people. We going everywhere, bro. You know, I'm throwing stuff at Jared, and Jared just trying to give me the approval. But he always wanted information first, which I give him, and he was like, okay, let's have him on. Let's do this. It's fun that what we do, but hey, we're trying to take this to another level, man. So continue to like, share, this, and subscribe to our YouTube channels, and continue to watch this show. All our fans who are watching, please put the word out. Let them watch the replay of this show tonight because we had two very good gets and some really good sports talking stories. So tune in every week, man. This show is fun and it's an honor to be on there, to being a co-host and the world most famous booker on the show.
That's
See,
bro.
it's amazing how wrestlers take that so much of pride for being the bookie, the booker. So I might as well be the booker because I book everything. You know what I'm saying? Because he depends on me to do it. It takes a lot of pressure off him. You know what I'm saying? And he's willing enough to put it together, and I just go ahead and book everything like that. And I want him to have that. It's fortunate that I didn't have the capacity of it like that, talking about it. But when he was the co-host, he stepped up and did some things for me. So I'm doing the same for him. You know what I'm saying? But in a different, like, he sees me as like, hey, you got that access. He got some access too, but I sometimes have a lot more access than he does. And it's like, hey, just just do this for me. Can you who you think we should get? We should get this, that. But we work together to get it done, man.
That's right.
Continue to tune in every week. We're taking this to another level. We want this thing to go viral. So pass it along, including all your what you call that? The Mr. Steele Dibs audience.
Yeah,
We want y'all to come over here too. Come over here too and support your boy. You know what I'm saying? The rest of the stuff is cool, but come on here and support some sports stuff. Because we do talk sports over here outside of wrestling.
That's right.
And WrestleMania is coming up next week anyway. Oh, yeah. No problem.
Yeah,
I already know you need to get that Monday show. I already know, man. Because you're gonna be in LA next week and I'll be in Baton Rouge.
There we go.
You know what I'm saying? So but my only gripe is I hope that because BRCC and Delgado's playing next weekend. That's why I'm in Baton Rouge. I'm hoping the Saturday first pitch is not where the time is supposed to be. I hope the first pitch is a little more earlier than it is. Because guess what the first pitch is in the first game?
1 o'clock?
3 o'clock.
Yee.
I'm like, Coach, can you push it 2 hours? Just a little bit. I know it's a doubleheader Saturday. Can you push it to noon will be better. But can you push it to 1? Because 3 is kind of you trying to get Delgado like kind of sleepy a little bit, come up in there 3 o'clock. I think that might be not a good time for Delgado coming in. It might be fresh, be like, oh, you ready to play now? So I don't know. We'll see. I don't know if Coach Seminole's watching.
See.
Well, we'll see.
We gonna see. So thank you for tuning in. I'm about to go get some food. I'm hungry.
Oh, I'm sorry about that.
Oh, you're all right. You good, bro. It's all good. So we did our show. We did it. Yes. We'll see y'all. Exclusive with Brandon Servicey Thursday. Show back on Monday. Y'all take care.